it again. Okay, I don't know where you guys missed me, which place, but what I want you to do is I want you to download and install Java. Let's say install Open JDK on Windows. We can do this Microsoft build for Open JDK. You can use this, or you can use AWS Corito if you want to. Install on Windows via MSI. Okay, you can do this. Install on Windows over MSI. Download the Microsoft build for OpenJDK. So let me copy this for you guys. I'm not going to install it because I already have it. See if this works for one of you guys. So here, if we come down, so they have for Linux, Mac, so on and so forth, and they have for Windows over here. Why is it saying ARM64? I don't know. You need this because I don't think so. You guys are going to be using ARM64 unless you guys are using ARM64 processor. You want to download this one. Copy. That's the one for you. Okay, and this is OpenJDK 21 if you notice it. All right. So let's go with a little bit more fundamental. It's always a challenge for me because you guys are coming with a very raw experience, no experience at all. So it's very difficult for me to decide where to begin. So let me retry again. Okay. First thing, you're going to install that Java, which I just gave you. Did you guys get the link? The one that I just gave you, this one?
Yes, sir, we got it.
Right, this zip file. So download that zip file. Okay. And I think it is going to be a MSI. So it will be installable. So if you double click on it, it should install. Okay. Once it installs, you should be able to run a command called java -version to check if Java has been installed. So I'm having Java 17 with me. You will see Java 21 once you install it. Is it clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good. Then what you could do is leave all of these things aside. Once you have generated this, just take this code from here. Just take this code from here. Okay. You don't even need the package to start with, and just paste it in any file like this. Okay. And whatever name you have given over here, app, save that with the exact same name. So let me move back over here, sandbox, today's date, and I'll save this file called app.java. The exact same name, what is over here in the exact same case. You cannot put small a, okay? Save it with the exact same name. That is Java convention. The file name and the class name, the public class name has to be same, okay? Once you have that, what you would do is list it, and your app.java is over here. To compile a Java code, you see Java C app.java. And now if I do ls-lrt, you would see there's this file called app.class which is generated. This, whatever I'm showing you here is I'm going back and trying to see where I can begin with, okay? So I'm not even showing Maven to you. I'm just showing pure Java to you, okay? What I'm saying is you can write a Java file in a human readable form, and you have to create a class out of it. And the way to create a class out of it is Java C app.java. That's the command. So this class is created over here. Then what you can do is Java app, and it prints out hello world over here. I can go ahead and do whatever I want. Welcome to DevOps 2024 mentoring session, and save it. I'm just saving the Java file, okay? And I'll go again and run Java app, and you'll see there's no change. It's still hello world.java. The reason is I have not compiled my class. So to compile the class, the command is Java C, and the file name. As soon as I do that, the new file will get created. And if I now run Java app, you would see welcome to DevOps 2024 mentoring session. Okay. I hope you guys are understanding so far, and
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
rushing you into.
Yes, sir.
Once you know this, what you need to understand next is if I have to continue doing this, if I have to, let's say, create 5 more files, and Java comes with a concept of packages. So it always, you can always namespace those class. That means this particular file will reside in a folder called com.xyz. That's what the notation is. Okay. And it becomes very difficult then when you have some files in XYZ, some file in ABC, some file in DEF, whatever that folder name is, right? XYZ is just a random name I'm picking. It can be Lotus Ops, it can be whatever name you want to put in. Okay. It can be Samir too. It becomes very difficult that you have to go and compile things one after the other. Okay. There are commands to compile it, but then you still have to compile it. And after you compile it, you have to put it up into a jar file and make it an executable jar file so that you can use it. So all of that, so just so that you don't need to do it manually, this guy comes into picture and it says, hey, you know what? You don't have to worry about compiling. For compiling, you have just one command, Maven clean compile, like that. And if you want to package it into a jar file, it's very easy. Just do Maven clean package. It will create a jar file for you that you can use for deploying directly. So if you see here, there should be a file called .jar file that is created. In this jar file, you can take it and you can deploy it wherever you want to deploy it. Okay. So technically what I can do is, give me a second. I want to hide this guy here. Okay. So you can take this Java file and you can run. So let me see if I still remember the command to run it or not. So cd target, I'll go in there and I'll do a list. Okay. I'll do a Java minus jar, and the file name is com lotus ops dot app. Java minus jar. Where is the name of the jar file? My first app. Yeah, I think I've already forgotten it because we never do it this way, but I was trying to see if I can do it for you. Yep, there you go. Yeah, it was somewhere in my subconscious memory. We never ever do it this way, okay? We never ever run programs this way. But what I wanted to show you is if I put this particular jar in my class path, I'm able to execute the content the same way I did earlier on, right? I did Java and app. I can do it with this. So that means this particular jar file has my files in there that can be run. Okay. I know it's a complex topic, and that's the reason why I wanted to take this whole session today just to play with Maven and then show you the moving pieces, because there's a lot that you can do with Maven. There's a lot of complexities that we can add and simplify to with Maven, but you need to understand the fundamental. I'm coming from a old school where we used to write Java classes and we used to compile Java classes and we used to create a jar file with all the Java classes inside it. So it's easy for me to understand that whole concept. Okay. But I understand with you guys, you are not born with that in that time where you had to compile Java classes and then you have to create a jar file manually by yourself. So you would probably not be able to appreciate what Maven is doing as much as I do. Saif, I don't know whether you have done Java where you wrote classes and bundle them up into a jar file in your time.
I was using .NET, but only
Okay.
experience I had with this in our last project. Obviously,
Okay.
you know that
Okay.
the gateway project we have. Yeah.
Sure. But so far, whatever I'm showing you, are you able to relate? Like you're understanding it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ruth, Rutvik and Sai, are you guys understanding what we are doing so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So what I would suggest to you is this, okay? I would suggest you install Java first, then go and install Maven. Okay. You can Google for actually steps to install Maven. It'll tell you exactly how to do it, but I have already shared you the link how to do it. Okay. And then go to this Maven in 5 minutes and generate this archetype. But before you go to this archetype, make sure after you've installed your Maven and Java that you run these two commands. Java version should show you the version of your project, the Java project, and then Maven hyphen version should show you this is minus version and this is minus version. I don't think so this works with minus version. Let's try. Yeah, it works. So you can use one minus. Okay. It will show you the Maven version that you've installed. Okay. And when you generate the archetype, what you need to do is go to your POM file and change this one. So this is by default taking 1.7 version. If you see, I want 17 because I have 17 version in my local. So I'll change it to 17. Save it. And then do a Maven clean package. Yes. Okay, I'm in the wrong path. So let's go back and then do a Maven clean package. And now it will compile for Java 17. Okay. If you guys are clear up until now, I'll go into a little more depth. Or if you want to experiment with this and take some time, I'm okay with that, because unless and until you experiment with it, you might not really understand everything that I'm saying. But if you feel comfortable, I'll move forward.
So Samir bhai, when you mentioned you were at the wrong path, that means you want to be at the same level of the POM file,
POM.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was inside the target folder early on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys want me to continue, or you guys want me to halt and you guys want to do some little bit of playing around with it? What do you want to do?
Sir, you can continue.
Okay. So I already showed you compile, right? So there are a couple of goals. This is what they call as goals. Okay. So Maven clean itself is a goal. So what Maven clean does is it will delete anything that it has generated. So look at this target folder over here. Okay. When I run this command. So it deletes the target folder. Target folder is a working directory for Maven. That's what you should understand now. I can then do Maven. I don't even need to do a Maven clean. What Maven clean does is cleans first and then compiles. I can even do Maven compile because I've already cleaned. So it will only generate the class files. It will not create a jar file. So it created the class files, if you see here. Okay. I'll go ahead and run Maven clean again to clear the target folder. And then instead of doing a Maven compile, I'll do a Maven package. What it does is it does a compile and then does a package. So you have a jar file, and these classes were generated because without creating the classes, it cannot generate a jar file. The same classes are packaged into the jar file. So what you should understand over here is compile. I mean, compile is not the first stage anyway. Okay, so let's do Maven clean to start with. And on a separate window over here, I'll search for Maven goals. A build lifecycle is made up of phases: validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, deploy. Okay. Usual command line calls will do verify. A build phase is made up of plugin goals. I don't want to throw things at you. Okay, so here it is. There's process resources, compile, process test resources, test, compile, test, package, install, deploy. There are different phases what you have. And for those phases, you have goals. Okay, for the jar packaging. So what you have is there's a plugin called resources, and resources is the goal. Compiler : compile is the goal. Resources : test resources is a goal. Okay. What it is saying here, I mean, otherwise, if you come to this page, it might be difficult for you to read. Okay. What it is saying is there is a phase called compile, and there's a goal called compile. To be able to invoke that phase compile, and compile phase is always after process resources. So what it means is when you do a Maven compile, it does process resource implicitly and then does a compile. When you do a package, it does process resource, compile, process test resource, test, compile, and test, and then package. Okay. To be able to take care of these phases, you have something called as plugins. Okay. Maven, everything works by plugins. And that's the reason why we will write one plugin while we are doing this. And when you write that one plugin, you should be able to get the whole idea of how Maven works. Okay. And this is just not for Maven. If you go to learn anything new in the future, try and see what is at the heart of the technology. Try to learn that first. Okay. And then everything around it will be simple. So since we are talking about goals are tied to a plugin. Okay. So let's look at the Maven resources plugin. Okay. So what I'll search over here is Maven resources plugin. And then we'll boil down from there. And what is the name over here? Resources. So let's see if there is a command. There may be a command. Sorry, why am I here? Let's go here. MVN. I have never run this command myself. Never needed it. So it is saying unknown lifecycle phase resources. You must specify valid lifecycle, and it is giving you all the lifecycle over here. So you have process test resources, process classes. Oh, the name is process resources. Okay, or process sources. So we'll go with process. Oops, sorry. There you go. Okay, so that it is a valid one, but throwing an error is always helpful because now you can see what are the different phases over here. So if you pick these guys up from here, sometimes the websites doesn't give you enough information, but this gives you a lot of information over here. So if I take these guys over here and paste it, and I put it over here. So this will give you a very good idea. It all starts with validate. Then it goes to initialize. Then it goes to generate sources. It goes to process sources, generate resources. You guys have not seen what resources are, so don't worry about it. And then it goes to compile. So when we see a compile, when we say Maven compile, and if I put a -X over here and a -E for error, if at all, you'd see there's a lot of information that is presented over here. And when I started learning Maven, this was the core information for me to be able to get a solid understanding of Maven. So if you go through this is basically it says print debug statements. Okay. So you'd see a lot of information over here. It says which Java version it is picking up for you, where it is installed, and so on. Created new class realm maven.api, and it goes down over here. If there are any error stacks, it'll print. Okay. So what I would suggest you is when you are playing with it, please do this. Then it talks about life cycle. See over here, each of the life cycle it would have run. Okay. And then you come down, there's a goal, and this goal belongs to this Maven compiler plugin. If you notice here, that's the plugin. Okay. So if you want to go find out what that plugin does, you can. And then you move down, there's a Maven resources plugin too. And then you move down. So there's a lot of information is what I cannot really sit and show you each and everything, but there's a lot of information for you over here. If you need to dig a little deeper, it shows you each and every path that it is going to, where it is picking up from. These are the values that are passed to your plugin. So since you know this, what I want you to do is, I mean, it becomes very easy when I'm showing you either to think that you know it or to feel that, oh no, I'm lost, I do not know it at all. Okay, both of the cases are not great. So the only way to get out of this is to do it yourself. Okay, so since you know there's a plugin behind every process, behind every phase and the goal, right? There's a Maven resources plugin. So let's go to that. This is the Maven resources plugin. And if you see usage over here, there should be usage. It says Maven resources : resources. So I was trying to run resources only. It was not able to find it. Okay. The resources plugin handles the copying of project resources to the output directory. The following example describes basic usage of the plugin. Okay. What is resources? Again, you guys are not coming with a Java background, so it's a little difficult for you, but Maven src main Java, and then there's a src main resources folder. These are the resources where you can add some things that are required by your Java project. For example, people who have used Spring Boot, they would know there would be a file called, let's say, application.yml. Or that could be, there could be images that you want to copy, so on and so forth. Okay, so look at this over here. Okay, I'm going to do a Maven clean, mvn clean, just to remove the target folder. And let's see if we get into an error. Maven resources. So it's saying the plugin is resources and resources. Technically, you don't need to specify that, but I don't know why it is expecting that. So now if I go into target folder over here, you see that in target folder, it has copied the application.yaml file. That's the job of resources plugin. Are you guys following me so far? I'm really doing a post-mortem for you, just so that you understand Maven better. Okay. If you go to any other sessions on YouTube or anywhere, they're not going to get to this level. Okay. But what I frankly feel is if you know this, you not need to know anything else, because then you'll figure it out yourself. What I'm showing you over here is Maven is constructed using plugin. Consider plugin as smaller nuggets that do only a certain job. For example, in our case, Maven resources plugin was only picking up file from here and putting it up into the classes directory. Maven compiler plugin will do a Java C command, compile it and put it up into the classes folder. Okay, Maven package plugin would do something different. Okay, so let's go and play around with this Maven resources plugin and then look at the goals that it supports. Okay, it's a single plugin. If you notice it, it's a resources plugin, but it does copy resources, it does help, it does resources, the one that we just ran, and it does test resources. This and this are similar, but only thing is resources will copy from src main Java and test resources will copy from src test Java. Okay, let's do a help. It seems interesting to me. So let's put this. So it is giving us a small help over here. It says the resources plugin handles the copying of project resources to the output directory. There are two different kinds of resources: main resources, which is in src main Java, and test resources, which is in src test Java. The difference is that the main resources are resources associated with the main source code, while the test resources are associated with the test source code. Thus, this allows the separation of resources for the main source code and its unit tests. If you otherwise read it, it will be very difficult for you. But now, since I've shown you this SRC main Java and SRC test Java, hopefully when you read this, you'll not have difficulty. Okay. Then it is talking about each and every goal. If you see, it has 4 goals. The first goal is copy resources. Copy resources of the configured plugin attribute resources. Resources help, which we are already looking at this. Resources is copy resources from main source code to the main output directory. Okay. And then the test source, we've already talked about, copy from test, SRC test Java. Let's see this guy, copy resources. If you notice over here, but before we go to copy resources, let's look at source resources. So see that it has parameters. See that it has parameters over here. Okay. What I will do is I will clear the screen. I will go to resources, and run it with -x -e, just so that you can see something and relate it later on. You see this over here? Output directory. See that output directory? See this output directory over here? Okay. Now let's look at others. Use default delimiter. Add default excludes should also be there. If not, it'll be on top. Okay. Delimiters. Should be up somewhere. Each and every one, unless there is a default. For example, delimiter. If there's a default for it, it'll not. Yeah, default value is true. You see that? So it'll not show you. Encoding, escape string, so on and so forth. So what you might be thinking, why am I showing you this, right? What's the benefit of it? So what I want to do actually is go to usage, and there should be an example. Let's say filtering. Okay. I want to copy something. Okay, I'm going to copy this piece from here. It shows you, right? It should be under project and project if you notice it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something over here which says hello, let's say. That's what they're trying to do over here, right? Or name. I'll put hello, or let's say name. Okay. If I just run like this, let me just run without this, just to show you when it copies over, right? In here, it has copied over with the name, if you notice it. Okay. I'm going to do -d name equals to Samir, let's say. Still, there will be no change. Still, there will be no change. Okay. What I will do next is I will go in here, since it starts with project on top. This is the project. I can put anywhere in between. So I'm going to put this here. And I'm saying do filtering. Filtering by default is not true. I'm saying do filtering. I'm going to clear it and run this. So it says unrecognized tag resource. It has to be under resources. I don't know why they are not saying it. It should be under resources. Give me a better example, please. Yeah. So build resources. That's what it should be in. So I was thinking why they are showing us resource. So go down over here. There should be a section called build. Right. So let's add a section called resources. and paste it over here. Save it. Let's see if it works now. You see that? So what I did was I used the Maven resources plugin. This one is the Maven resources plugin. Okay. You can either do it this way, or you should also be able to do using plugins. So let's see if they allow us to use the raw plugin. Yeah, let's see if I can use this plugin. So build plugins plugin. Okay, I'm going to be picking this guy up from here. So that's the raw plugin. Okay, this is the shorthand that we saw. So I'm going to keep it commented out for now over here. I'm going to put this, but what I want to get is I want to get the right keyword for filtering and the directory. Okay. So filtering, if I go up over here, goals, resources, there should be one called filtering. See if you can find before me. File name filtering. Filters. No. There should be a one which says true or false. So support multi-line filtering, use build filters. Value is true. There should be something which is value is false. Usually I use the one that we just used, filters. If I have to add the list of extra filters, properties, filter name, file name filtering, support filtering of file name, folders, etc. There should be a default filtering option available. Yeah, what I'm trying to show you is you can either do it this way where it knows this is the resources plugin, but you can also do it this way wherein you explicitly specify which plugin you want. So basically, if you notice here, I told you group ID, artifact ID, version number is important. So even for their own plugin, if you notice it, they're using their group ID, artifact ID, and the version number. Okay. So over here, the way they're using properties encoding like that, there should also be another one which says filtering or something, some word. The whole thing that I do not know is maybe it's file name filtering. I do not know, but we can try this. Okay. But I think this should not be a showstopper for you because you can go and Google if you want to. But the whole idea is if you have an expression like this and you want to change that expression during build time, you should be able to pass values to that either through the way I was doing. I was using -d name equals to value, or you should be able to, there's another plugin called properties plugin that reads that properties key value pair from a file. So if you want to search for that, you can search it. The intent of today's session is not to confuse you. The intent of today's session is to tell you that to achieve a job that's an automation job for Maven, moving classes, moving something, there's always a plugin. For example, there's a Maven properties plugin. The way I usually do it is I would go and Google and see if there's a plugin available to do a specific task. But let's see this properties plugin. You can put key value pair like that. And read project properties. Let's do this usage. Okay, so I'm going to pick up this plugin from here. Okay, this plugin from here, and I'm going to put that plugin For a moment, let me comment this guy and uncomment this guy from here, which was working, okay? And I would not want to pass -d. I would want to define that inside a property file. That's the whole idea. And what we are doing here is may build plugins, build, this is build, and then inside this build, I will add plugins. Paste it over here. So it's org codehouse mojo plugin. This is not the default Maven plugin. It's a properties plugin. Version number is 121. Execution. We are saying while you are doing an initialize phase, and we've already seen right over here, initialize phase is way up over here. During the initialize phase, I want you to read project properties. That's the goal. And goal, if you notice over here, read project properties, one of the goals. So we are saying during the Maven's initialize phase, run the read project properties, and the files that you want to read is in, let's say we are going to keep it in new folder called properties, and I'll add a property file called dev.properties.
We can read it from resources file also, right? Resources folder also, right?
No, what we're trying to do is we are trying to change. There's a file in resources wherein we want to pick up the name for this. For dev, let's say the name is going to be Samir. For production, the name is going to be Saif. I'm just throwing some silly example over here, right? So I don't want to put the properties inside here because then this property also will get bundled in the jar. I don't want this to be bundled in the jar. I want the values from here. For example, name for dev is Samir, to be used to update this while packaging here. The name should be Samir. If I'm doing it for uh, prod, the value should be different. That's the whole idea, right?
Okay.
So if I go back over here to POM file, I'll say src main properties dev.properties. I believe that's the same path, but if at all it gives error, we'll come to know. Okay. Plugins. Okay. And I'm not going to pass name Samir over here. And let's go and change this name to, let's say, Saif, just to be super sure that we don't have the old file over here, right? Not here, here. So let's run this for a second. Why is it picking this guy up? Okay. That changes, but Maven, if I do this, it picks this guy up. Okay, this is good over here. Let's go ahead and run it with -x to see what is happening. Filtering this. Did it pick up my? We just have to see whether it picked up our plugin or not. So the plugin is this plugin over here. During initialize, it should read it. So just to be sure, I want to do initialize once to see whether it is gets called or not. Loading properties file from, yeah, it does. See that? Loading one property, resolve property. Did I put the right thing over there? Name equals to Saif. That is. So I see it's equals and not colon. Okay. This will read the property, but how will it assign the value to that? We'll have to check. Okay, anyway, this is the assignment for me and assignment for you too. The problem that we are trying to solve is simple, okay? The problem is there's an application.yaml file over here, which is using a property, and we want to read that property from a file. And we are trying to use a Maven properties plugin in here. This properties plugin is reading it, but now we'll have to understand. So it is reading it from this file. If you notice here, it is saying that it has read it from this file, okay? We just have to identify how do we inject it in the right place. Okay. I will spend some time because I think I don't want to troubleshoot it on the call. I know this is possible. It might just be that we are not using the right goal that we need to. Okay. The whole thing is going to be around here in this particular mojo. So if you can get before me, get over here. But what I want you to take from today's class is you have a hell lot of plugins over here. So if you look for Maven plugins, which Maven allows by default, right? And there are several more plugins that are written by open source world. So if you see over here, there are several plugins, each one of them. And then you have links over here to GitHub, okay? So for example, let's look at it over here, stage, PDF. So there's a PDF plugin. So if you see over here, they should be telling you how to use it. Make sure you have, so you have found a bug or you have, okay, whatever, I want to know the usage. There should be a tutorial or something like that. This plugin doesn't seem to have a good example. Apache PDF plugin, Maven PDF plugin. Yeah, so this one should have the same thing like usage, right? So if you go to usage, it'll tell you exactly how to use this as part of your build. Output directory, this, include report false. So the PDF plugin can be put into a project form.xml so that it gets executed every time the project is built. Below is a sample configuration to put into the plugins for running the PDF plugin in site phase every time the project is built. So I assume this plugin would create a PDF file for whatever documentation you have. Okay. That's what the whole plugin's intent would be. But in the end, what you want to really know is if you have a problem, you never go to plugin and then try to learn each and every plugin because there are so many plugins out there. Okay. What you should know is if I'm trying to do something manually, for example, what I was trying to do, right? I was trying to replace a variable manually during the build time. Go figure out, go ask the right question. If you want to ask ChatGPT to go ask, which is the plugin that I have to use to solve this problem in Maven? And more likely than not, you'll get an answer that it is possible using a plugin. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second. I think we are well over time. But did you guys take away something from this class today? Rutvik and Sai? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Saif, were you able to pick up something today?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we will do is we will try to solve, I mean, we'll take another session next week, right? And we'll try to solve some problem because I think we should write a plugin. Okay. And if we write a plugin, that's the time we'll be able to connect. I mean, you guys should be able to take the phases, the goals for the plugin and the plugin configuration, and plugin configuration tell what the plugin should be able to do, right? At least take away those things from here. Next week, I mean, tomorrow, if you guys have time, we can have a class. And then what we would see is, we would see how to create dependency management, okay? Just to feel a little at home. And then when you get onto a project, that's when you'll get your challenges and you'll be able to solve your challenges, okay? What I don't want to do is, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing just Maven, because if you just do Maven, you'll miss out on the Docker and the Kubernetes pieces, right? So we'll see the whole flow, the whole ecosystem, and then we can come back and say, hey, you know what? I wanted to learn a little more about Maven. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Can you show what was the last command you ran, Mr. Birwai?
Here?
Yeah.
-x,
Okay.
initialize. So I know this particular one should get kicked in on the phase initialize and on phase initial. Give me a second, okay? I think I have a delivery. Give me a second. All right, I've stopped sharing. Let me stop recording.